everyone, so today we're going to be covering the Liebherr LTM-1450 by Rossum Mods. This is going to be a bit of a longer video as we've got a few interesting components to it. We're going to cover everything from how to use the vehicle, all the different things you can get for it in configuration options, and also demonstrate a couple of the capabilities of the crane. So we'll have a little walk around the machine first, and then as it is a longer video, there will be timestamps down below, so if you want to go and check it out and stick up to the fun bits, feel free to do that. Now, enough of that, let's get on to the slightly boring bit. So the crane itself is found in the shop under the miscellaneous category within that, and depending on how many mods you've got, you may be scrolling for a wee while, but there it is right there, the Liebherr LTM-1450, or alternatively you can find it through brand, or you can find it through just looking up Liebherr. So as you can see, you've got a couple of options for counterweights, main colour and license plate as well. It's got 677 horsepower, 52 miles an hour and 850 litre fuel tank. You've got a couple of counterweight options, starting off at 10 tonne and you go up to 24 tonne, and then you can go all the way up to 134 tonne, which is the max you can do for automatic weights. We'll show what they're like later on in the video, but I prefer the manual weights personally, which allows you to change it, and there is no limit to how much weight you can put on the back of it, as far as I know. So the main colour there, you can see it changes everything, including the centre of the wheels there as well. Changes both your cab for your crane and the driving portion of the vehicle. Your design colour here changes all the kind of main body components of it. As you can all see, it's in white. And then you've also got rim colour, which is just your kind of standard rim colour everywhere you would expect it. You'd also get a nice chrome for that as well, so if you would prefer to put chrome on it, feel free, but if you do have the unlimited colour configuration mods, which is available, you can do it for anything. So the weights for the crane are found also under the miscellaneous category, and weights, as you can see here, you've got 4 different ones. Well, the fourth one is below in a second. So you get a 7 tonne base weight, the frame, the 5 tonne and the 10 tonne. So start off with the frame. So the frame itself weighs 10 tonnes, which is what you're going to use when you first start building the crane up as the manual one. If you've got the automatic, you don't need any of these, but if you've got the manual crane, you're going to need some of these. So you only got one colour option there, as you can see, and the base weight here. So this is what you need. So you get the weight frame, and then you get 2 of these base weights, and then from there you can just add more and more weight. These each weigh 7 tonnes, so in order to get your kind of crane set up to add more weight on, you're going to be looking at a 24 tonne base counterweight. So then you get a 5 tonne increment here. It's just a wee slab. You've got that big black hook on the top, which you use to connect it. You've also got these nice wee looking locking pins on each side as well. And again, you've got the colour options there for it. And then there's your 10 tonne one. As you can see, it's basically just double the thickness of the 5 tonne one, and it weighs 10 tonnes. So keep that in mind when you're trying to load it, as these do have quite a bit of weight to them, because ironically they're counterweights. So let's go have a look at the crane now. So first off, we'll start at night here. So just having a wee look around the machine, you put 2 beacons on the cab. You've got flashers on each of the support legs. You've also got 2 flashers on the rear of the actual crane itself. As you can see, you've also got a couple different work lights there. You've got chicken lights all the way down the side of it, and just it being quite good to work with at night, and was quite nice. So now back in the light again. So now we can see the machine a little bit better this time. You can see the lovely detailing of the Liebherr, the decals all over it, the stickers. So in order to get in the machine, you need to kind of come from the second axle in at the front here to about the kind of cupboard door at the back here. That's your kind of hitbox. So this kind of midsection of the crane is where you can actually access it, and it gives you the option to jump in. Once inside the machine, well, you go straight into the driver's seat. As you can see, the driver's seat is in the front, and you can obviously have your lights. There are fairly bright lights on it. So going into the driver's seat here, having a little look around, you've got all the lovely little buttons, dials and things. Also got 2 passenger seats here as well. Got one on the far right and one in the middle, so you can bring 2 wee bodies along with you. If you really want to share this with others. Looking around as well, you've got plenty of dials and stuff and things on the dash, plus the dashboard does actually give you a few wee notifications like your indicators, your hazards and stuff. Going into the actual cab of the crane, you've got lots of buttons, switches and sticks to play around with. You also have this nice wee animation for the door opening and closing. It's a nice wee sliding door, so you kind of pop out and pop back in. And then you also get a hook camera as well, which is ideal for when you're putting loads in unconventional places, shall we say. So now what we'll do is we'll get this thing unfolded and we'll start going through the control groups. So as you can see, when you unfold it, the hook at the front just kind of folds and all the support legs come out. You can see all the lovely little flashers on them all come to life, and the crane lifts up as well as the wheels all retract into the main chassis of the crane, which is also quite a cool wee feature. And then you can see the strobes there again, and obviously you've got the reflective tape on all the outriggers as well. So just gonna have another wee walk around. You can see the two wee beacons on the back of the crane as well. Those will jump inside of it, and we'll start covering all the control groups now. So control group 1, pressing the left bumper gives you the option to raise the main boom. As you can see at the top left, at the little control menu, this is control group 1. So pressing L1 gives you the option to raise the boom up, down, and you can also rotate the crane as well through that control group. As you can see, it's not too quick, and it is not too slow either, which means you, even with a controller, you can make small, fine movements, which is convenient for trying to relocate things. R1 allows you to extend the boom and also lower and raise the hook as well, as you'll see in a second. There we go. And then L1 and R1 is how you rotate the hook, as you can see. Just watch the letter in there. You can see the hook spinning about there. You also have the option to control the door. Also does have a tension belt on it. You can see there the hook. Tension belt strap on it. Plus you can also rotate the cab as well through L1 and R1 combined, or left bumper and right bumper depending on what you're on. And I've got absolutely no clue what it would be for PC. The cab does go very far back, which does mean if you're wanting to do it semi-realistically and being in first person and stuff like that, it does work quite well. However, you do have that hook cam, which comes in very handy, especially when you're trying to do fine movements yourself. If you've got other people there, then it makes sense to do it in third person, but if you're doing it yourself, well, it's a little bit more challenging, isn't it? Going on to control group 2, this is the support legs. So now the support legs, you've got two options. You can raise them up and you can also retract them. So going on to the right bumper here, that allows you to retract the support legs. So if you move them left and right and up and down, left and right does one side, up and down does the other side. So you can lean the crane, you can retract half of them, you can keep half up, half down. This allows you a lot of flexibility when it comes to working in confined spaces and stuff like that. I'll say confined spaces, the crane is longer than most trucks in the game, but my point still stands. You can choose how you manoeuvre it. If you're trying to get right up against a wall or something like that, or you're backed up in a wee alleyway or something, you can drive in with half the outriggers extended, and it allows you to have that flexibility. And as you can see, because the crane's not fully folded up, the flashers are still on. So you get full range of motion on that, which is fantastic. And as you can see, I'm just going to demonstrate here, you can just put half the outriggers out if you prefer, which then allows you to obviously unload things or load things a little bit easier. Also means as well, if you're trying to bring up trucks and things right beside the crane to load the counterweights and things, having the outriggers folded in might make it a bit easier. But generally speaking, you want them out fairly far and supporting the crane. So now, as this crane is the manual version, as you can see there is only 2 control groups. So in order to put the counterweight on it, you need to manually do it. Conveniently, we have a truck right next to us, filled with counterweights. So what we'll do is we'll go and start loading them up the now. The good thing about the manual counterweights is when you're lifting loads, they sometimes take an unexpected turn, which means that with the manual weights, you attach them onto that kind of back mounting bracket there. This is where the weight frame goes, and we'll go have a wee look at that now in the back of the truck. So the weight frame here has a couple different movement portions of it, so when you're actually mounting it, you've got the lovely little hooks there that all match up with the bit in the back. You've also got the little U-shaped connection point at the top. That's where the hook's actually going to connect to, and the crane will lift it. That bottom pad that it is sitting on though will lift up, and then that will also come down that same distance, so just keep that in mind. There's the 7-ton base weight that goes on at the top there, lines up with the little black pins as well, you can see with the little pins on the front. We'll line up with them, and obviously that rear one will line up with the one on the back. So that gives you a little bit of an indication of which way that goes. And everything with the black hook is basically where the crane will attach to. We may use the other crane to demonstrate that later. So now what we'll do is we'll get these all loaded up, and we'll show you how to do it. So the benefit of the manual crane is you can self-assemble it to a point. It's a little bit interesting. You may have some flukes, and I will demonstrate some of them in a minute, and we'll also show how to remedy the problems. So when you're putting the counterweight assembly on, you want to take the frame first. As you can see, the base plate's folded up, and we just need to keep that in mind. So we'll bring this round and we'll set it on the main body of the crane just now. Just bear with me a wee second. You don't want to put it too close, but you don't want to put it too far away, or else you won't be able to reach it. And another point to note as well, this doesn't really have collisions. As you can see, it phases through the body of the crane, but when you detach it, the collisions become very real. So just be aware of that. So you need to raise it a wee bit higher up before you detach it, so then the pad kind of sits just on the body of the crane. So you'll see me just getting a rough height now, and then you see that pad extend, and now it sits quite happily there. Now what we'll do is we'll go and load one of the 7-ton base weights. Speed up a wee bit here so you don't need to watch it go very, very slow. I'll talk you through this one now whilst we're doing it. So I'm just moving the crane arm out. As I'm on controller, I can't obviously do too many control surfaces at once. You can see they're line it up with the black hook, connect it, and then we put the weight on. Problem solved. The crane is quite stable, lifting 10 tons, 24 tons itself without a counterweight on, but obviously when you get more, you need to consider that. And you can see I'm just going to line these teeth up roughly with where the wee black pins are, and everything goes well, so it's on there. So now this is the fun bit. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you go to connect to it, it likes to do a little bit of a flip. So generally you want to go a wee bit higher up, but this time it did a wee bit of a funky thing and kicked the weight away. So this is how we retrieve that. So now it's upside down. You've got two options. You can tension belt it, or you can connect to it. Sometimes when you can connect to it, it will sometimes naturally just flip over. Times like this where it doesn't, you can use the lovely outriggers you've got there. All you need to do is line the weight up roughly with the outrigger, and then just drop it. And basically just cause it to roll over. The weight will naturally want to go that way anyway, and then all you need to do is just raise it back up, put it on the weight. So now we'll attach it again. This time we'll do a nice quick double tap to make sure we get it connected. But now we've had another problem. It's flipped upside down. This is very simple to fix. All you do is you just adjust the weight. So as you can see up the top left, I've selected the weight. So now what I'll do is I'll move it out to the side just to avoid any problems first. Actually, before I try and flip this back over, just so I don't hit myself or anything daft. So move it away from the crane a wee bit to give it space. All we do is you move the weight back, which causes all the centre mass to flip, and it rolls back over happily. I've got the weight frame, and I've got one weight loaded, and then generally the other weight goes on a lot better. So I'll shut up and we'll load the other half of the counterweight. So as you can see, that was substantially less eventful, and as you can see, you just kind of line it up a wee bit and you get a feel for it when you've done it a few times. Now selecting the weight frame this time, we get the option to move it backwards and forwards, so you can move it into that kind of rear position, which gives you more weight on the back, meaning you can lift heavier stuff out front, and then obviously you can adjust that as you need, because obviously if you've got your outriggers half extended, then you might want less weight pointing over the back because you might tip, etc. So it gives you a bit of flexibility and a little bit more control over where your centre of mass is and lifts. Having a little look at it, you can see this is what your kind of basic weight assembly looks like. It is a bit dirty because it has been used for certain things, but now say hypothetically you finished a lift and you're wanting to disassemble it or add more weights or something. So what we'll do now is we'll bring over the other crane and we'll show you how to, you know, deal with the other crane. So like I said, you can self-assemble it with one crane, so as you can see I did the manual crane and I was able to put the whole base assembly on it with 24 tonne of counterweight. I probably could have put more on it, but I didn't need any more, and generally 24 tonne does you for most things unless you're doing a specifically heavy lift. So say you needed more counterweight or less counterweight, you could bring in this one. I like to have two, a manual one and an automatic. As you can see, this one automatically had the weight assembly just appear. Again, the controls are all the same. Control group 1 is your crane assembly, left and right on the left bumper, extension and retraction and stuff of the hook on the right bumper. Control group 2 is your support legs, move them up, down and out. And now this you get a control group 3, which allows you to move the counterweight on the back. So instead of you having to select that thing that you're attached to move the counterweights, you can just do it through the control groups on the crane. And there's no delay because it's counting as one kind of fixed model as opposed to multiple different attached portions. So now what we'll do is we'll get this lined up and ready to start disassembling the crane. So all we do is we just kind of roughly eyeball it, and then obviously once we've got everything in position we can start guiding things in. This does work a wee bit better with two people, but for the purposes of this I'll just demonstrate it myself in case, well, there's some solo players, because I know I sometimes do quite a lot of heavy lifting solo as I'm usually hiding things. So you jump in the other crane and you just tap through until you find the right weight, and then you just attach it. It gets a little bit more confusing when you've got lots of weights there, but once that wee black hook appears, that's the one that you can grab. Obviously you can't disconnect it twice on consoles because it just reattaches it, so that's why you need the second crane to remove the weights. So as you can see, we'll just roughly line it up here and connect it. And once the weight's all connected, we're just going to set this off to the side now, just for the time being. Okay, and there's number one off. Now what we'll do is lift it up and we'll go for the second one. And again, we'll just roughly line up where it's going to be. The hook doesn't rotate full 360 degrees, it does kind of do, well, it will rotate 360 degrees, but it won't rotate past a certain point, so it will kind of stop. So you need to think about the orientation of which your hook is when you're picking things up, as you can't rotate freely constantly. So lining that up with the weight frame here, we'll do a little thing. So if you look at the back here, you see how it's shaking about quite a lot? It's a wee bit unstable, and there's also not much space. That's the reason why typically when I'm building it myself and it's on site and I'm wanting to assemble the crane, I'll always do it on the front portion of the crane and not the rear portion, as it causes a little bit of instability and gives me less room to work. So that's just a general pointer for anybody who's looking to do it solo. And now a very, very important point, folding up the crane. So generally when you fold up the crane, you always want to do it to the left hand side. You can see how I tapped fold crane there through L1X and it just retracted the hook and everything went well. That was because it was done off the left hand side. Now, let's demonstrate what happens when you don't do it off the left hand side and you go to the right hand side of the cab. This is where interesting things happen. So we'll take the hook out of the body just for, you know, keep everything the same. So as you notice, the crane very, very quickly spins round and does a full loop before it then retracts into how it's meant to be. This little feature can be rather interesting. Before that, we'll cover a little lift and then we'll come back to the interesting bit a little bit later on. So this barge here, we're going to lift this with a crane. So as you can see, I've assembled it, I've got 24-ton counterweight on the back of it, just going up to the barge here. As you can see, it weighs 18.4 tons. I've got 24-ton of counterweight on the back of this, plus the crane weighs 36 tons. So I have more than enough weight to safely lift this thing. So now what we'll do is we'll just get everything all lined up. As you can see, the tension belt is on the hook there. And then we'll just line this up nicely above the barge and we'll begin to lift it in a wee second. So initially I thought I'll just lift it in the middle of the barge. That'll work out well. You can see it's connected because you've now got the little fill indicator on the bottom right of the screen, which shows that you're connected to the vehicle which has the container. Because the barge can hold stuff, it'll have a fill indicator. I move the counterweights back to give me more weight on the back of the machine, meaning I won't tip. And all the mass is tipping off towards the back. So this should in theory level me out when I lift it. So I'm going to begin the lift here, slowly but surely, and I immediately realise that the front of the boat's coming out, not the back. So we'll just readjust that now. As you can see, I'm using the hook cam here as it works a little bit better. We're trying to see what I'm doing. And then we've got the bolt connected. So what we'll do is we'll pick it up again, and just watch the front and rear again. Just make sure it all wants to go where we want to go. Because tension belts work really, really weird sometimes. As you can see, the boat's bouncing around a little bit, but it's moving evenly, which is what we want. And now we'll just begin to lift it out of the water. This was all done on stream as well, so if you're wanting to go and dive into that interesting chaos that we did when the crane came out, feel free to go have a look at that. I think it was episode 7 of Agroforests, if you're curious. I'm just going to have a wee look to make sure I'm not tipping. Everything seems fine, so we'll just continue on with the lift and see if we can get this thing out of the water. And as you can see, we've actually managed to get the boat fully out of the water, and it's floating around doing funky things because it's on a tension belt. So the whole boat's completely out of the water and the crane is not moved an inch, which is generally what you want from doing a lift. So now we'll just put the boat back. However, before we do that, just to prove a point, I'm going to move the boat about just a little bit if you watch the crane. So you can see how the boat is quite freely swinging about on the end of the hook there, but crane is just not moving at all, just has not budged, which again just shows how well it works. Plus again, this is the cab tilt, so you can very nicely see what's going on up on your hook, and you can get a good view of the chaos that you're inflicting, or the confusion that you're about to inflict upon your friends when they look for the bolt and discover it's on top of a crane above a boat. Anyway, we'll put the boat back down in the water, and then we'll go on to some other unique things. And now on the conclusion of that fairly successful lift, I think it's time we go on to a little bit more of the fun stuff. So we're using the automatic crane this time, but remember that little trick we said about earlier where if you go at the right hand side of the cab and then you decide to fold the crane up, it likes to do, oh, just a little spin. Doesn't look like it could be too dangerous, so it might spin you around or anything, might cause a wee bit of problems. Well, you can massively exacerbate the problems by doing a few things. You can extend the boom, you can lower the hook, hell, you can even attach things to the hook, have it fully extended, and then retract it. But notice how when you retract it, things seem to speed up a little bit when you have your boom extended. So, if we just hypothetically put the boom out maybe just a wee bit further than we did last time. Keep going, just a little bit further. And somewhere about here. So now if we double tap it, did you notice how when we unfolded, well, we folded and then refolded it, notice how quick it snapped back in? If we get the right distance, we can sometimes do this. So now we're going to end up flying. And as expected, we've left the map. And I think, to my knowledge, this is the fastest the LTM-1450 has went, clocking in at a whopping 395, oh no, sorry, it was 495 miles an hour top speed. So in summary, it's a fantastic machine. I'm sure people will find great methods of trolling people and fantastic uses of the machine. Can't wait for the 1050 to come out. It means we don't need to get two £500,000 cranes to reassemble each other. But if you enjoy this kind of content, you want more of it, maybe think about sticking around. And for those of you who opted to stick around a little bit longer, here's a little video of how to slingshot a car by unfolding, refolding and launching the car and nearly breaking the game. Hey, the car went like over 600 mile an hour though, and I also vacated the map. Again. Whoops.